Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's conversation. We are here as mental health champions with Basic Needs, Basic Rights. Basic Needs, Basic Rights is a non-for-profit organization that does creation of awareness on mental health issues in order to eradicate stigma and discrimination, as well as to ensure that people going through mental health conditions are getting the support they require. And we are just coming from the May Mental Health Month, and Basic Needs, Basic Rights, together with some partners, have been participating in a campaign called the 5-Week Challenge to encourage people to do the Quality Rights Program. And the Quality Rights Program is an initiative by WHO, World Health Organization, in partnership with Ministry of Health, to try and see how we can improve the health system, especially when it comes to delivering quality services and ensuring human rights of people with psychosocial, cognitive, intellectual disabilities, people with mental health conditions are being respected. And we have been talking about different articles which we have been posting in our social media platforms. Feel free to go through the different conversations we've been having because they're very enlightening on different aspects of the Quality Rights Program. And today we are going to be talking about Article 19, which is the right to live independently and be included in the community. And with me, I have different champions from Basic Needs, Basic Rights, and I will invite all of us to introduce ourselves. I will start and then mention the other champions as well. So I am Immaculate Wanjiko Karanja. I am a digital marketing consultant and a social media strategist, and I'm really glad to be in this conversation today. We can go to Ben.
Hi guys, my name is Bernard Moregi Momo. I'm a mental health advocate. I volunteer with Basic Needs, Basic Rights. I'm also a businessman, entrepreneur in short. Yeah, and we are here today to talk about the how to live independently and being included in the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben, and welcome. We're so glad to have you. Masha, you can say hi to us.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Masha Mwangi. I am a mental health champion with Basic Needs, Basic Rights, and I am a human resource consultant, and I'm passionate about mental health advocacy. Thank you.
Welcome so much. We are glad to have you. Fidis.
Hi everyone. So my name is Fides Wanjiro. I am also a mental health champion with Basic Needs, Basic Rights Kenya. I am also a marketer. I'm also a pharmacist. And yes, and I'm glad to be here as we talk about independent living. Yes, with mental health. Yes.
Thank you so much, and we are so glad to have you. Edwin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Edwin. I'm a mental health advocate with Basic Needs, Basic Rights Kenya. I'm an accountant by profession, but I'm very passionate about mental health. I'm looking forward to this discussion on living independently and being included in the community because that is very important for everybody who is living with a mental health condition or has any psychosocial disability. So thank you for this invitation.
Thank you so much.
I'm really humbled. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edwin. We're really glad to have you on board and to have this conversation with you. So if we have heard about the Quality Rights Program, it's a program that seeks to share with us the right standards of how we should be treating people with psychosocial disabilities, people with mental health conditions, so that we encourage that services move beyond the traditional ways we used to, do things, the care models, and instead provide a holistic way to support people to enable them to live meaningful lives. So the objective of this discussion today is to empower people to live the lives that they do want to live. And we have been using different articles guided by the CRPD, which is the Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities. And the article we are going to delve deeper into today is Article 19, which, as we have mentioned, is the right to live independently and be included in the community. And this basically means that people can decide where they want to live, how they want to live, who they want to live with. It can be with their family. Do they want to live with their friend? Do they want to live alone? And their choices need to be respected. That means if a person does not want to be in a facility, that means that needs to be respected. And remember, saying this does not mean that we are imposing an ideal, maybe way of life. No, it's about ensuring that people have the same choices as any other member of the community in terms of living arrangements. Because it's very important for all of us to feel that we have a place that we can call home, to feel that we are able to choose how we want to live. And that is both in our personal lives, in our professional lives. And when we say personal lives, we mean the friends you want to have, the social lives that you'd like to have, daily activities, and even the nitty-gritties of the daily activities, the clothes you want to wear, the meals you want to eat, what you want to do with your day. Do you want to go for shopping or not? So people should be allowed to have a say in what their lives should be about. In professional life, that means we have a right to education. Does this person want to pursue some education? Vocational development, employment, what do they want to do in future? So we need to be allowed to make these decisions for ourselves, because this is what makes life fulfilling, and this is what makes life worth living. And we also need to remember that for this to happen, sometimes there are a range of services and supports that need to be given so that a person can now make this decision, so that they can live independently and be part of the community. For example, these supports range from a very wide variety depending on the severity of the person's condition. For example, if it's the physical disabilities, that means we need to ensure that they have resources that enable them to move up and down. If not, we need to provide support for transportation. Other types of support include information, advice, even training on living independently, or any other thing or information that will help this person now make a decision and be able to choose how they want to live. And as we are talking about this, we also need to ensure that community inclusion is being accorded, because everyone has a right to go to school, everyone has a right to participate in cultural, religious activities, leisure and recreation activities. But unfortunately, we see that this vulnerable group of people with psychosocial disabilities, people with mental health conditions, are most of the time excluded. You know, it seems like they cannot participate in all these other community and cultural activities like everyone else, which is wrong. And that is why we say that sometimes living in the community does not necessarily mean that the person is being included, because that is what normally happens. Most of the time, these people live in the community, but they're still being socially included. So what we need to ensure is very intentional participation and involvement of people with psychosocial disabilities, cognitive, intellectual disabilities, as well as mental health conditions. We should not assume that just because they're living with us in the community, they are feeling part of the community. So let us go that extra step of ensuring that the participation, the involvement is happening. And for all this to happen, it needs to go along with the article that we were talking about last time, which is the article on legal capacity, that people have a right to make these decisions. So people should be allowed to make these decisions. And when all this is able to, if we are able to ensure that this happens, this means that even the recovery of people will be faster, because they feel accepted and valued and appreciated, part of the community, the self-esteem goes up, they're able to participate in development of the society, and we feel that there's a sense of purpose. and that definitely aids in recovery. So that is why really, really important that we see to it that we are respecting this right. And remember, it is for everyone, regardless of if the person has a condition or not. And sometimes, again, for this to happen, we need to be able to make the tweaks or adjustments, whether it's in our workplaces or at homes, for this to happen. For example, if it's at work, we need to have flexible working hours. We need to ensure that there is a possibility for part-time jobs. There's a possibility for working at home. We need to ensure that there are systems that are enabling this person to be able to compete with the other members of the society. So let's be open-minded enough to make these adjustments so that we can allow space and ensure that inclusion is able to happen. So this is just a few of these activities. So I'm going to invite the mental health champions so that they can share now, because we have this information on how to be included, what it means to live independently. So now we can share if there's a place where we can say, so my right to live independently and be included in the community has been appreciated and respected, or it has been violated in these ways. So I will welcome the different champions. I think we can start with Ben.
Thank you very much, Immaculate. So about living independently, for me, it has been a journey, because when I got sick for the first time, they really told me to come back home so that they could take care of me. They made those decisions for me, but I told them I'm good, and they accepted my suggestions of living alone and living with my those days with my girlfriend. Let me say that. So it was I didn't want to come back home. So when I got a relapse for the second time is when they said enough is enough, and they somehow violated some of my rights, because I was taken back to, it's called rural home, where I stayed for almost like 3 months there, and I could not associate myself with the community because they didn't want people to know about my illness. So I was somehow isolated at home, being locked at home. So it was somehow so I felt that my rights were being violated, but I came to realize at a later date that they care about me. It's about the love that they have for me. That's why they were doing so. And today I've been able to engage the community very well. I talk about mental health with advices to my friends and my neighbors, and I feel like I'm part of the community. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
That's my experience.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you so much. We can go to Edwin.
Well, I think for me, my experience has been quite interesting because I actually didn't know I had issues. I came to learn I had issues when I got into treatment. It was actually a surprise for me. So now, that being said, I think when it comes to inclusion, I have come to a place where the people who know what I battle with, family and close friends, and even other colleagues, they have accepted that I'm dealing with something that they don't understand, and they always try to give their input in a manner that they want me to feel that I am still a person. There are those instances where you find that people would want to actually tell you what to do. And that now also brings in what we were discussing last time about legal capacity and the right to, make your own decisions. And I think just like you had mentioned earlier, these two go hand in hand, because the right to make your own decisions and stick to them will also come from, because you're in a community, it will mean that the people around you have supported you to that level of understanding that as Edwin or as Ben or as any other person, you have a right to make this decision. You have a right to live the life that you need to live. So for me, I know that my family, being my closest support system, has always supported the decisions that I'm about to make. At times we do have that discussion because one of the conditions I have actually brings in a lot of impulsivity with it. So at times people will ask, have you thought this through? And at times, of course, I haven't. At times I have. And in the cases where I have, I do feel a bit offended because I feel they don't really understand that, and they would want also to bring in their own views and all that. But another thing I've come to appreciate with the whole process is it is my responsibility now, because I know about quality rights. They don't. You know, we know about quality rights. They don't. We know about CRPD, but they don't. So in these moments when you are engaging with them, you can just put in a statement here or there, and you will start a conversation going. That has been my journey with especially my family. And now they're at a place where they do have a basic grounding of mental health issues, such that they can now not be in the dark, because I think that is where also a lot of stigma is bred, where there are no people do not have information. So it is upon me, and maybe people who are who are willing to do this, like the advocates we have right now in this panel, who will talk about quality rights and the right to inclusion, the right to being involved in a community. It is upon us to educate people and to tell them, you know what, take up that course. It is free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it is important for you. So I also remember an incident. This is related to what I'm saying. I remember an incident or a situation some time back where I was with a physically challenged person, or a person with a physical disability, and we were at a game somewhere. And the interesting thing is the people around didn't even notice, because most of them have done quality rights and all that. They didn't notice, but he was playing with us. He was actually playing the game that we were playing. He was actually playing volleyball, and we didn't see the disability. We didn't see that. We saw a person who is actively involved. And what I'm trying to say is that even for us who are, for those of us who didn't have that physical disability, we acknowledge that the fact that we didn't tell him or to stop playing or anything, we told him, come, you need to play, you need to engage. He felt included. He didn't feel out. That is what we mean by inclusion in community and the activities. That is exactly what we mean. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and even using that example to really paint the picture. So thank you so much. And even as you're talking about this, we should also include the conversation of, have we been included in political activities? For example, being able to vote, being able to participate in policy and advocacy, inclusion in all different aspects. So thank you so much, Edwin, for bringing that up. We really appreciate. We can go to Masha.
Thank you so much, Immaculate. So for me, I'm so privileged to have some good friends, because when I started this journey, I didn't know what was happening to me. And as the days goes by and my condition was not getting good, one of the most humbling thing that happened to me is that one of my friends, she told me, your depression and anxiety are not getting better. I was living alone at that particular moment, and it was not good. So she advised me, you can move in with me, and then we are going to take care of you as a family. And it really helped me at that particular time, because it was a very trying time for like almost a whole year, me trying to get therapy, the right medication and all that. So yes, inclusive for people with psychosocial disability to be given the right to decide whom to live with is very important. For me, it helped me recover quickly, as much as there were other challenges, because the people I was living with understood my problem and they were ready. They were ready to sacrifice some time to take me like to the hospital, which is very important. Sometimes you are unable even to go to the hospital by yourself when you have the problems. So they would accompany me to the hospital and back. They would even highlight, this medication is not right for you. Let's go back and inquire. And it was an eye-opening time for me. That time I didn't know about CRPD, but now, having gone through the training of CRPD, I really appreciate that moment, because when we are included, it helps us with our recovery, and our recovery actually gets better and quicker. At that time, my self-confidence was very, very low, because I didn't know what I was going through. But this family, they had somebody who had gone through depression, bipolar, and all that. So they knew. And even if they would not tell me exactly what it was, they were just there for me, which really made it easier for me. So in other terms of inclusivity is like when we go to the hospitals, for me, I would urge everybody, like the healthcare people, to do the quality rights. Because at times when you go there and you need to make your own decision, like I want this kind of treatment and all that, and they are asking their caregivers, that one I find they were not including me. Because that medication, I am the user, and I know the side effects. And if they could, like for me, if they could have listened at some point, it would have saved some of the problems that I went through. So my inclusion is to the healthcare providers. It is good for them to include us in our treatment plan, to explain to us, so that we can be able to make our final decisions when it comes to the right treatment for us. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Masha, for sharing that. And even for bringing to our attention on what we had talked about, the different ranges of services and supports that someone might need so that they can now have this right of living independently and being included. That was very good of the family that supported. And now those are the kinds of supports that might be necessary. So it's not only acknowledging that, yes, you have a right, so just go ahead, but we have to also acknowledge that there are certain supports that might be necessary to go along with that. And thank you also for sharing about it being included in the treatment plan. Very, very, very important for recovery. So I think we can have Fidel.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to address that issue that Masha has raised. So as a healthcare person, I would actually encourage other healthcare professionals to also do the quality rights course. It's free and it's available. And then, yes, we should actually, it's very important that we should involve the patient on the medication and the treatment plan that we're carrying out. It is very important because at the end of the day, the patient is the user of the drugs. So it is very important that they're actually incorporated in the treatment plan, plus their caregivers also. Okay, so for me, now back to my story. For me, I've actually seen, since I got sick, which was, I think, 2 years ago, 2019, I haven't seen much of discrimination, not discrimination, but violation of my rights. My family are my caregivers and they're the people closest to me. They have been very supportive. So they have been, at least I have seen, like, if it is being incorporated in the community, they don't treat me as an outsider. So if it comes to like decision making, I'm part of the decision making process. When it comes to like going back to school, education, they support me fully. When it comes to doing things, nobody treats me like, you have a problem, because I'm in the process of healing. So everybody tries to incorporate me in the process of, as a group, we are all like healing together. Yes. So for me, I haven't seen violation, but I'm very grateful to my caregivers and my family, because at least when it comes to like even living on my own, I haven't yet started living on my own, sorry. But at least for the time being that I have, like when I was in school, I used to be in my own hostel and all that. I never used to see bad treatment. Even from my friends, they would not treat me like I'm an outsider. They would incorporate me in, you know, in
Thank you so much, Fides, for sharing that. It's like we lost you at the end, but we were with you in the bigger part of it. So thank you so much for sharing that as well. So that was today's discussion on emphasizing that we need to respect this right on enabling the even people with psychosocial disabilities, people with mental health conditions, have a say in how they want to live so that they are able to live independently and be included in the community. And as we had said, doing this really comes a long way in ensuring that they feel appreciated, valued, accepted, and that has a very, very, very big impact on the recovery process. It's far much faster, just as Marsha had mentioned, and we are able to feel like we are contributing to the society's development, the self-esteem goes up, and we are able to feel like we are living a meaningful life, a purposeful life, which is very, very, very important. So thank you so much for being part of this conversation, sharing your experiences as we continue to create awareness on some of these things that are very, very important in our society. Thank you.